Matt, thanks so much for joining me today to discuss your journey, your 6 year journey with UC, man. I mean, talk about brothers in arms. I'm so happy for you to be here and just share it because it's been so long. So, yeah, thanks for being here today.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, so how long, has it been now? You were originally diagnosed with ulcerative colitis, and we talked about your journey to health, what, back in 2018?
Yeah, I think I first experienced symptoms in late 2017. I think we might have been introduced to each other in 2018 or 2019.
Around 2018, and we're just about in 2024 now. You had a remarkable journey. So, first off, I know it's never fun to talk about, but can you share a little bit of a reminder on what it was like for you originally when you first had that extreme UC reaction back in 2018?
I started experiencing symptoms, originally diagnosed with proctitis, tried to manage that kind of conventionally for a little while, and also with lifestyle modifications kind of on my own for a bit. And it just kept getting worse. Eventually, it turned into ulcerative pancreatitis, and I was in an extreme flare, was hospitalized for weeks, and couldn't work for 7 months. Came in contact with you and with your company, and through a lot of hard work and a lot of help from yourself and my family and friends and other
And Becky?
professionals, and Becky,
Yeah.
was able to reverse that trend.
And just so everyone knows, I mean, this wasn't a little bit of a UC flare. You dropped down to 98 pounds, and today you're about what, 155, 160?
I think I'm 165. I think I'm like the heaviest I've.
But I mean, always an athlete, great golfer, runner, always had a lot of skill sets, and you were, I think, late 20s, and we had already been working together for a month or two. So 98 pounds, and you can't, supplements aren't working. You had already done a liquid diet for months at a time. And we weren't, I mean, we were both saying, what can we do? This was one of the most extreme cases that I had seen, and I've seen a few thousand cases. So, for everyone listening, this was not some easygoing, small little reaction. This was life-threatening, severe flare, at which then we started working with our nurse practitioner, Rebecca Murray, and flew you down to her clinic, along with then we kept refining the supplements, the diet. We threw in some peptides, we threw in some IV nutrition, iron, testosterone, lipid fats. And then I remember this big pivotal moment. You were wheelchaired off the plane to the clinic, and then you walked back onto the plane 3 days later with your own strength. And then 3 months
Exactly.
later, you had gained 35% of your body mass. And man, you recovered quickly, and we ran some plays where then we decided, hey, I don't think we need Remicaid anymore. We don't need Prednisone, and you went medication free. And
Yep.
so, how long has it been since you've taken a medication?
Since that time, yeah, I haven't taken any sort of prescription medication since that time.
How long did it take you to start letting go of that fear that you weren't going to go back into that cage?
That's still a work in progress to an extent, to be totally honest. I don't think
Yeah.
about it often.
There's always that wonder of, your body can get sick, but on the opposite side of that is gratitude and appreciation, and then a willingness to become stronger, to become your own self. That's why we call the program Shield.
Yep.
And maybe can you share some instances over the last 5 years?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, there has been turbulence. I'm not going to be here to
Yeah, me too.
indicate that I haven't had some digestive
Yeah.
challenges during the time, just like any
Yeah, you're not
person
Jesus. You're
on
not
this
walking on
planet.
water. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
not you're
I'm
not in the
not a machine.
clouds
Yeah,
floating around. You're human. Yeah.
yeah, I'm not a machine, and so I think it is important to just share that, like, it's okay to have some ups and downs. Now, my downs are not, in my case, I've been lucky. They haven't been mucus, they haven't been blood, they haven't really even been in urgency. When I feel something negative related to my digestion, it tends to be like discomfort. Um, and especially if I sit for a long period of time. And I don't know if that's because of maybe scar tissue or what that is. I mean, I've had a colonoscopy since. I had one earlier this year, and it was completely clean. no signs of inflammation or anything. But I
Whoa,
do
whoa,
know
whoa.
that it,
Hold on to that. Wait. That was a big one there. So it's been 5 years. You get off all the medications. You went and got your colonoscopy. And we did your lab work earlier this year.
Mhm. Yep,
Cal protected normal, no major inflammation, few little normal, little dysbiosis, little normal stuff, no no blood and no and then the colonoscopy came back normal.
yep. So the new GI doctor that performed the colonoscopy, he was. It almost seemed like he was. Well, he was just very curious about my backstory when he was reviewing my medical history, and I had been working with I had visited his nurse practitioner prior to the colonoscopy. So they were familiar with it. I was honest about kind of what had transpired prior to. And we all just agreed that I hadn't had a colonoscopy since my flare. So it was kind of high time, just kind of check under the hood and make sure that things were okay or
Yeah,
weren't. We didn't know. Certainly didn't have any symptoms to suggest there would be anything bothersome. But
yeah.
anyways, he was like, huh, this is really interesting. What you've gone through. Let's see what we can find during the colonoscopy. And thankfully, uh, the colonoscopy came back clean.
Well, I mean, still, it's. I mean, Matt, it's so exciting, and I'm just so happy for you because I was there with you when you were saying to me, Dane, there's got to be. I've tried everything. I've spent thousands. There's got to be something we can do, and to be here now in this moment, remembering, it's just it's a miracle. I mean, you only had liquids for 3 months at one point, and then you get back and you're eating at restaurants and you're around the holidays and you're around gluten and alcohol and sugar. And how have you navigated?
Yeah, it hasn't been all that challenging for me. I actually was gluten free before my flare. For like since 2010, I was gluten free. I found out when I was in college that I had a wheat allergy, so
Hmm.
I went gluten free for quite some time, which is why when we first met, I was like, I felt like I had played 51 of the 52 cards because I had been gluten free for such a long time, and I had tried to modify my diet so much and still wasn't getting any answers, and kind of felt more hopeless because of that. But I would say that just with given the fact that I had already sort of adopted that food philosophy from like a gluten-free perspective for a while, and I'd been reading labels for a long time, and I was totally bought into and understood the value of eating clean. Doing that after the flare has not been too challenging for me. I have broadened my diet, certainly far beyond what it was when I was on an all liquid diet for like 3 months.
Do you consider
Yep.
yourself on a diet?
No, not at all.
Me
I
either.
think it's a lifestyle. In fact, it's a choice that I would choose even if I didn't have UC because I feel better when I eat better, right? And
Yep.
so it's not like you make these choices out of fear that you might react negatively if you don't do it. I mean, the way I see it is I make a choice out of like I want to feel a certain way. I think that it's just kind of a mindset thing. But having said that, when I was during my flare, yes, I mean I was strict to an extent. I mean my situation was extreme.
Do you have to take a supplement or you're scared you're going to flare?
No, not at all. I mean, I'll tell you just full transparency, my morning routine right now, I I will drink a protein smoothie. I like
Hmm.
bone broth protein. I've always responded well to it.
Hmm.
I do that with almond milk and some coconut yogurt, and take my Healthy Trinity Natron probiotic. And
Natasha will love you for that.
I know this is not a paid endorsement. I don't know Natasha. I took a couple other little supplements, some vitamin B complex, and
Yeah, but
some other
classic stuff
things.
that's good for
Just
you.
normal stuff. Fish
Yeah,
oil.
fish oil,
Yeah,
anti-inflammatory, and so, but that changes because if I asked you a year ago, it might have been a little different, or a year
absolutely.
before, like a normal person who says, "Yeah, I think I needed more Bs, I need omegas," and so we end up acting more like what we want to do to just be a healthy person, not just the fear of Crohn's colitis. Um, so you're able to move and have fluctuation, and I think a lot of people are saying, "Yeah, I've been good, then I'm not good. How much do you think stress plays a role on the idea of having major reactions?
I think it's a huge factor. I don't know that stress is a causative factor, but I think it's definitely um, a strong correlation
Mhm.
with how bad IBD can get, or um, yeah, I mean, I mind body connection is a real thing. I've been that I think that that's probably since I've been able to heal and kind of been in remission. I think that the most progress I've made personally is just mindfulness and recognizing when I am stressed
Mhm.
and learning different coping mechanisms to like just take that, level 9 down to a level 5 quickly. And I think that that's helpful.
And and so being proactive about your health. And for anyone out there who goes, "Oh, why do I have to keep this up?" I mean, Matt, should our wives keep it up? Should our parents be doing this stuff? Who shouldn't be doing this stuff?
Right.
That's really the question. IBD is a catalyst to becoming your healthiest self. I mean, what if, and everyone, I'll pose this question to everyone listening, what if Matt, the severe, I think I told you this when you were super sick, what if the life-threatening Crohn's colitis was actually the catalyst for him to be able to get rid of the things that would have killed him when he was 75 and now he'll live to 100? What if it was the catalyst? Because
Yep.
he is so much more on point about his health for year now, 5, 6 years later, and he's going to be like that in 15. Let it be the catalyst to your best life. And so, in a way, maybe Crohn's colitis was one of the better things that happened to you to help in your trajectory. What kind of husband you're going to be, a father you're going to be, a CEO you're going to be,
Yeah.
a community member you're going to be.
I mean, I think it's any adversity presents an opportunity to either get stronger because of it, or to be overcome or overwhelmed by it. And yeah, so I choose to look at the experience as a gift and kind of try to react to it, with knowing that I've learned a whole lot, and I now have all these tools and people and everything that I can lean on if I experience any more bumps in the road, that I would have never been able to learn about had I not gone through this experience. So, I think that that's a great thing.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, I'll be able to share this. I've shared this with so many other people too. I think that's actually something I never saw coming as a wonderful outcome of this process, is coming in contact with other people who are struggling, or have a loved one that has been struggling, and for me to just be able to empathize with them and to point them in the right direction, has been another gift that has been so cool. I never thought that that would be an outcome of this, but it's been great too.
Well, Matt, last words. You had one of the hardest cases I've personally ever seen. I think we all know. I mean, to go that hard and to be 5 years without any problems, eating normally, living normally, such a blessing in your life. What would be a last piece of advice with where you are now and everything you've experienced over half a decade? What would you say to that person right now who's struggling or feels lost, or feels like they played 51 out of 52 cards, like you said?
Yeah, yeah. I would just say to seek some help, because you can't do it yourself. I remember thinking that I might be able to navigate it myself, and I would say, seek some help, and know that it's not necessarily going to be easy, but it will all work out. It'll all end up working out, and just have some faith and be solution oriented, um, as you're trying to navigate that challenge. But um, yeah, you can navigate it, and you can be in remission, and you can live a very normal life and get back to the things that you love to do. And um, so I think that that's important for people to hear, especially if they're kind of in the thick of things, is they might not think that there is a future for them, or the type of future that they want. And I don't know. I know that there are a lot of clients that you have that that prove that there is. there is a bright future ahead of them. I know not everybody has that experience in the IBD community. And so those who do have that outcome, we're all lucky and fortunate for it, but that is possible, at least in my experience. It has been possible.